welcome back to Northamptonshire Football Podcast. Next episode, we welcome Wesley McGrath. Wesley, how are you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, all good, thank you. Really looking forward to this one. It's nice for me sometimes to be on the other end of podcasts. I've been doing a few recently where I've been, sort of in a little bit of host or co-host mode. So it's quite nice to, be on the other side of a podcast for a change. Like I say, really looking forward to this one.
Good, yeah. Relax a bit. No, we ain't got nothing too scary to ask. Yeah, we just relax chat. No, it's good to have you here. Thanks for coming on, obviously. First of all, I was going to ask you about, obviously, so you're the co-owner. You're the owner and founder of the Kickoff Football Academy in Milton Keynes.
Yes, I am co-owner, sort of co-founder of Kickoff Football Academy Milton Keynes. So we are currently working with lots and lots of boys and girls within the Milton Keynes area, just trying to do my bit and give a little bit back to my local community, basically, and trying to help sort of the players of tomorrow, if you like, and try and help them develop and grow as best and as much as they can, really.
Nice, good. Well, where did the idea come from of sort of starting your own academy there?
Yeah, so it's quite an interesting story and quite an interesting journey. I come out of university and I had a job at MK Dons in the Sport and Education Trust, and was working with another local coaching company as well, Martin White Football Factory, and I owe a lot to Martin White as well. I think if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be in the position that I am today. So very thankful to him, because he was the one that gave me my first break and opportunity in coaching. Come out of university, and it can be quite difficult and quite tricky to land almost your full-time job sort of straight away. And I think people that know sort of coaching, it's unsociable hours and stuff like that. So I sort of set about trying to do something. I kind of started something out of frustration, really. I've seen a lot of videos online that I personally didn't agree with and didn't think was what you would class as good coaching. Yeah. And it just got to me in the end, and I was there like, look, I have to do something about this because it's eating me up inside. And what I thought people were being exposed to good coaching, and it was just like, how many times do we see on Instagram in particular, kids doing chops and turns, 4 Cruyff turns, stick one in the top corner. I never, as a player, I never ever did that on a Saturday afternoon. What I had done was, and I've been fortunate to play in near enough every outfield position when I was a player. So I set about trying to do something a bit more on a one-on-one basis with players and being like, right, okay, well, here's what we're going to do with you. So if I'm working with a winger, it's to receive the ball, drive down the line, cut inside, shoot. Standard practice that you would argue that a winger would do on a Saturday. So I set about doing that, and landed a job role whilst this was going on back up in Manchester, and thought, right, I'll do a few little sessions. Obviously I got my job coming up, so when I feel like the time's right, I can just sort of fob it off. No one will really notice, and that was that. But my gosh, how wrong was I? Because interest started growing and stuff like that. So as my name started to get out there a little bit more, I think I started getting and working with more players on a one-on-one basis. So it made life a little bit tricky. I was coming back for weekends. I had my full-time job in Manchester. I was coming back at weekends and still working on a Sunday, and then going back up to Manchester Sunday night. So and then I think obviously the main cliche, I think, if you like, is COVID happened. And then off the back of that, things just, for me, I would say really took off. So off the back of that, started with obviously just working one-on-one with players. And I was starting to work with a load more. I ended up with a couple of partnerships coming out of it. One with Willen Football Club, which is a local grassroots club in Milton Keynes. So we run their mini kickers program on a Saturday morning. I ended up with a partnership with Jack Collinson Soccer Schools to do holiday camps. and stuff like that. So yeah, COVID was the biggest blessing because it gave me the opportunity to assess what I was doing and what I could do moving forwards. And yeah, like I say, it's just year on year just built and grew, and now we've got partnership with Newport Pagnell Town to run their kickers and Wildcats sessions. We've got our own academy now, which, you know, we was at a tournament in Oxfordshire recently, and considering we're not in the JPL or anything like that, so we don't play games regularly,
No.
but to go there and really compete, I think, with setups that do play JPL or grassroots teams that play every week, you know, was really, really good. And I think even, you know, with the under 12s, we had some under 11s playing up, and, you know, I was getting feedback from parents saying, you know, whereas we've had parents coming up to us saying, like, what league you guys play in? And I'm there like, wow, that was the biggest. I think it's probably up there with the proudest moment I think I've had as a coach in my time. I've been coaching the best part of 10 years now, and that was the one for me, because to get that recognition was something that it makes those hours that you're putting in, that hard work, it kind of makes it all worth it for me. So yeah, really interesting journey. I think I've started one-on-ones about 6 years ago now. So yeah, like I say, I never thought I would have my own business and my own, you know, sort of private football business or academy. But like I say, things have just built and grew, that it's just meant that it's sort of happened, and, you know, we've explored opportunities along the way.
Nice. You'd be a madman to start a business in COVID, but not many people got away with it. But obviously, you've done very well out of it.
Yeah.
Like, what's your day-to-day role then? Obviously, you got academy stuff in the evening. I know academies, my boy plays. It's all evenings, obviously, and then the weekends. But I mean, I assume this is your full-time job now.
Yeah, so I had another job as well, actually, whilst I was running the business. Unfortunately, I'm not there anymore, but I was a PE teacher at a primary school in Milton Keynes as well. So I was literally doing that Monday to Friday, and then, as I called it, the fun stuff would take over Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and stuff like that. So everybody at the school I was at used to think, "Wes, you're mad! Like, how on earth do you do this?" Because I was working 7 days a week. Because I do all my one-to-ones on a Sunday. So yeah, we had obviously the mini kickers on a Saturday, and then you know, as well. So yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it, but it just felt like there was a time that I needed to really devote and devour to the business and trying to get it to grow and build. I think, you know, since September, again, we've had the Newport kickers and Wildcat sessions, which have been going really, really well. We've managed to get an after school session in with a local sports centre as well. So we took over the running of that and steadily built and grew that in terms of numbers as well. So it's about, I think for me, day to day, if I'm not out coaching or assisting and kind of overseeing things, it's then about, okay, what can we do to try and drum up more business and new business as well, whilst looking after our current clientele and making sure that they're happy. It's, you know, looking into modern trends, especially with the academy side of things, you know, modern trends that are happening in football. Obviously now you see the modern trend of the inverted fullback and fullbacks playing into midfield. You know, before then it was probably your inverted wingers, so wingers coming into the pitch, and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, sport and football in particular ever changing all the time. So yeah, I think now I've got a bit more time on my hands. It allows me to be able to do those kind of things. And I also co-host a podcast as well. I'm a big Spurs fan, as you can probably see by all the stuff in the background. So yeah, I co-host that on a Wednesday, on a Wednesday night. So yeah, I've been very, very grateful to somebody for giving me the opportunity to go a little bit more in depth with tactics and tactical analysis on different subjects as well. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm up to sort of during the day, really.
Nice. So let's say you're overseeing things as well then. Like you said, you are the owner. How many sort of coaches have you got working for you at the minute?
Got a small pool of coaches. We've got some that sort of cross over between one-on-ones and group sessions, and I've got one real sort of specialist one-on-one coach. That's sort of all he all he does. And then, yeah, obviously with the mini kickers, there's a small team on at the Willen site, small team over at the Newport site, just making sure, obviously, that we're doing everything that we need to do and making sure that sessions are running smoothly. And especially at that age, kids are having fun and they're enjoying and playing football. And yeah, there's a couple that again assist me on with our group sessions. So we have a skill centre, which usually takes place on a Monday night for more like beginners. And things like that. I used to get loads and loads of inquiries with regards to it, but never really had anything for them. So yeah, trialed it last year towards the summer, and yeah, we found it worked, and it was quite an enjoyable environment to be in because there was absolutely no pressure. For us, if a kid does a drag back and perfects it, then we're happy. If they can perfect the technique of a Cruyff turn again, they're happy because they've learned something new. We're happy because we've taught them the right technique. So yeah, we've had that, and then obviously, like I say, the academy. There's only a few of us. We're a fairly small team with the academy side of it. But yeah, things are steadily again keep building and growing as we go.
Yeah, nice. So obviously, your little kickers. Then, what sort of age is that? What sort of age do you have kids start?
Probably the youngest we would have is about 4. So it's that sort of key 4 to 6 age group, and I think for me that's probably the ages where you're more likely to learn how to do your scissors, your step over turns, your drag backs, your flip flat, all these sort of skills. Like that's for me is really where you learn how to do them. Within my time doing one-on-one coaching and some of my other coaches as well, I'd have discussions with them and we'd find that we'd get a player. Don't get me wrong, like players obviously start their footballing journey at different times, but you're looking at like an 11, 12-year-old and it's like the technique and the way they're trying to perfect a particular skill wasn't quite right. So again, that was another idea behind the skill centre. It was, you're speaking to the parents and it's like, oh, how long have they played football? Oh, they've not played football that long. Or yeah, they have, but COVID meant they couldn't really get out and practice. Yeah. Skills and things like that. So again, the idea behind the skill centre was just to give that environment that allowed young players really to just come in, learn new skills, have some fun along the way, and go home happy.
Yeah, nice. Obviously, you said you got a small group of coaches, yeah, but like in regards to players, how wide is that number?
I would probably say on a week, we're looking at about 150 as a rough number. Again, it's just building and growing every day. I'm getting inquiries left, right, and centre for one-on-ones, or some people wanting to come and join our academy and stuff like that. I mean, the academy side of it, I think we've got. I would probably argue about just under 100 kids in there across different age groups. So again, that's built and grew massively. I think we're into our 3rd year running it as a whole, because I did rebrand in 2023. So yeah, I'd say it's coming into our 3rd year now, and yeah, we're moving in a really, really good direction. Like I say, we're now going to tournaments and competing with JPL teams and grassroots clubs who are training more regularly, playing more regularly than us. We're training once a week and getting fixtures, as and when we can. We are looking into building our fixture program. Unfortunately for me, people don't want to get back to me on it, so it can be really frustrating in that regard. But yeah, no, like I say, we're building and growing each year and all the time. So we're doing some good things. I look at some of our age groups and it's like, if we could, we've probably got enough for 2 groups, but then it's the selling point then of selling it to parents of, okay, your child is then going to move into this particular working group, and that can be quite a difficult sell, because parents will look at it and go, well, why is my child with that group and not with this group over here? We've had a couple of fixtures before where we've taken a large age group, or an age group with large numbers, should I say, and we've split them, and we've had to reiterate to them and parents as well, like, look, we're just splitting them to give them an opportunity to play. It's not, to do with ability or or anything like that. It's purely, we've had this opportunity to play. We're going to try and maximise it, and make sure that, the players are enjoying playing together, and developing in the way that we want them to.
Nice. Obviously, you say you've been in these tournaments and bits, and you haven't got any teams in the JPL League. Is there a plan to put some teams in there in the future?
Potentially. It was very much at the forefront of my thinking when I thought about doing an academy or development centre. But then what I did was I tried to sound out some parents who I would sort of look at and want their child to try and come along with us. The feedback that I got was that, okay, Wes, if they're going to come to you, I want them to play for their grassroots team. And if they can't play on their grassroots team, then, they're not coming to you. So yeah, there is an idea there. And it's something we might look into, but I think at the moment, we are pretty happy with what we've got and the direction that we're going in. The only downside is I then get asked all the time by some of the parents that are watching. It's like, Wes, can you take these boys every week on a Saturday? Or can you take over the team that my son plays for? And I'm there like, well, I've got a little bit too much to juggle, unfortunately. Yeah. So I can't do it. I'd love to be able to give that side of it back, but unfortunately I can't. And like I say, I get asked all the time, if you had a grassroots, like, would you take over a grassroots team? Where it's like, they're trying to sound me out, but it's an interesting one. And like I say, it's something that, who knows, in the future we might look at, and see where we go from there.
Yeah. Do you think parents forget that sometimes, that like a coach isn't just a coach and they've got a life outside of football?
Oh, 100%. I think I'm quite lucky though. I think the parents that I come into contact with are good people as well. But I guess it's the thing of, they're seeing how their child is developing in the environment that not only myself, but the other coaches give them. And they see how they're doing and they're like, okay, I want more of this, because they're seeing a completely different version of their child. And we've had girls that have come to us. There's one that was at Oxford at the time. She's now at Arsenal, and would speak to her mum, and it was like, I just loved her coming to you on a Friday. And I was like, oh, thank you, but like, is there any particular? And she's like, yeah, my daughter's just a different player. Like, she's just free. There's just no pressure on her all the time. Yes, we want her to succeed and do well, but there's not that fear factor for her. And it was like, okay. Then she tried to get her husband to come down and see a session, and yeah, he eventually came down and was on the phone to his wife going, yeah, I get what you mean now. Yeah, she's completely different. So yeah, I didn't.
Why was he so reluctant to come down?
I don't know why. I mean, I was trying to get him down as well, to be fair, at one point. But yeah, it was just that thing of, yeah, I get it. And parents recently have said, like, again, my boy is just a different person, a different player. There's that confidence, that swagger to come onto the pitch and do what they know that they can do. And I think, especially as you get old, as we work with the older age groups, for us, it's not so much about coaching them so much. It's more managing and guiding them, because they know bits about the game already, and it's just managing what they can do and stuff like that. So that's what I found a lot, especially like working with the younger age groups. What you'd probably argue foundation phase is more coaching and teaching, whereas then if you move into like those YDP age groups, that sort of 12 to 16, it's not so much coaching, it's more managing and guiding along the way. That's not to say that you don't do that in the foundation phase, but from what I've come across, like I say, and I think the level of play that we get is pretty decent as well, to be fair. So that's half the battle for us straight away, and it's just about managing them and just giving them little subtle points along the way to be like, okay, in this situation, if it occurs again next time, or when you get the ball next time as a winger, go at your fullback in a certain way, or midfielder, like, right, don't forget check your shoulders before it's coming. Can you see both the goals before you receive the ball? Those little bits of detail is pretty much all they need. So yeah, it's been quite nice to have that as well.
Nice. Have you had any kids that have gone on to sort of bigger and better things? You mentioned there the girl's gone to Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, girl wise, we're smashing it. I think we've got girls at MK Dons, Tottenham, Arsenal, Villa, Leicester. So from and Watford as well. So from that side of things, doing really well. I think boy wise, we've got one who's been training with Northampton pre-academy, Leicester pre-academy, Dons pre-academy. Another boy at Leicester as well. I mean, that kid is absolutely frightening. Like I've never seen a kid that young just be so naturally gifted at football. Like it's freakish to think. The things that he can do with a football at his age is scary. And then we've had one boy as well that's come to us on our camps and had some one-on-one sessions with us at the sign for Luton. As well, he got picked up at a tournament in the summer. That was a big moment, I think, for us. It was the first boy that we've really had that's, I wouldn't say made it, but gone into an academy environment. It's a small milestone, I think, for us. But again, a bit more ratification and of what we're doing is working. So like I say, girl wise, we're doing really well, and we get quite a high level of girl player coming in to us, especially for one-on-ones and holiday camps and stuff like that. It's just the boys' turn, I think, to catch up and try and get us somewhere. But we have had some boys go on trial at Northampton. I think we've got a few in their sort of development centres as well, in their sort of shadow squads. So I think we've got 3 at under 10, 1 at under 9 as well, and that under 9 kid as well. If I could describe him, it's just a Swiss Army knife of a footballer. Like you tell him to go in goal and he's diving about like he's an absolute cat. You put him at the back, nobody gets past him. You put him in midfield, he dominates the game. You put him up top, he bags a hat trick. And it's is there anything this kid can't do? But it's quite interesting actually, because he's his age group now under 9s is the first cohort of the Willen mini kickers that I had as well. So it's been really nice to see not only his journey but their journey now. And like I say, they're under 9s now, so it's like next year under 10s, and it's like they're getting a bit old for my liking. They need to slow down a little bit.
What's the maximum age you love players there till?
Academy wise, for some bizarre reason, I don't know why this is, we only go up to under 14. We don't tend to work with players any older than that. I don't know why. I seriously don't know why. But yeah, it's just one of those things that's happened. And obviously now, as we hopefully continue for many years to come, hopefully parents will stick with us, and we can go right the way through, sort of at least up to under 16s, and stuff like that. 1-to-1 wise, I've worked with kids as young as sort of 6. I don't tend to do them any younger than that. And I've worked with adults, and there was a girl that I worked with who's now playing for Cambridge United's women's team. She starred on the first series of the Ultimate Goal series that was on BT, where it was a bit like Football Icon. I don't know if you remember that show, where they got like loads of young sort of lads in training camp. I think it was at Chelsea, and like the Football's Next Star that was at Inter Milan. So it was a little bit similar to that, but it was a girls' version, and that was done at St George's Park.
Nice.
So yeah, there wasn't just her. There was a couple of other girls that were also on that show, and I'm there like, looking around and going, hold on, I know like half the girls that are on here, one way or another. So, but yeah, no, it was good. And I think the last session I did with her, actually, I just, casually chatting and just saying like, oh, have you got any plans up to much like coming up? And she was like, yeah, I'm off to St George's Park. So I'm there like, all right, okay, like what's this about? Because I sent her the link to go and apply for it. And she turned around and said, oh, that link that you sent me? I was like, yeah. She said, well, I've got in. And I was like, oh, blimey, like bloody hell. So yeah, watched it like literally. I religiously watched that first series of Ultimate Goal. It was like, right, at this time, don't talk to me because I've got to watch this. So yeah, no, that was a really good series. So yeah, like I say, I think academy wise, up to under 14s at this stage, and 1-to-1 wise, I'm open to kind of any age really.
Yeah, nice. What does the future hold there for your academy there? Are you just looking to expand further? Are you going to take their majors a bit higher?
Yeah, definitely. I think I've got my dreams, my goals, my aspirations. I want people to come and sort of see that every Friday night the Astro is absolutely buzzing with energy and with people, with players and stuff like that. So we're doing all we can, especially obviously in the younger age groups a bit more. So I think it's a bit easier for us to recruit at younger age groups because they don't have that thing of being at a Donset or a Northampton or a Luton. Like, oh yeah, well, we've heard all this spiel before. We've been at this setup for say 3 years. Nothing's really happened. Are you going to be the same as? And don't get me wrong, I've had those conversations with people before, and it's an even harder sell at that point. Whereas younger ones, they haven't, like I said, they haven't got that baggage. So we can come in and be like, look, we love, little Louis, for example, and we think there's something there, and we'd love to work with him a little bit more if we can make that happen. And yeah, like I say, it's just about us building and growing as much as we can. Why can't we have two groups for each age group one day? Like, why can't that be a possibility? Why can't that be a reality? I know we've got quite a lot of competition, not only with Donset or Northampton. There's obviously AFC Rushden and Diamonds that have their like JPL set up. There's A-Star Academy of Football in Milton Keynes as well. So yeah, there's a bit of competition, but I think more people now are starting to see the value in what we're doing. So we're hoping that can hold us in good stead moving forwards.
Nice, good man, fair play. Sounds great. We'll have to come over and check one of the sessions out at some point.
Definitely.
We'll move to you. Obviously, how you come to this stage where you got to your own academy. I mean, just looking through your credentials, shall we say? I mean, you've done all the degrees, haven't you?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting. So I studied at UCFB, which is now University Campus, I believe, of Football Business. It wasn't at the time; it was University College of Football Business. And interesting. So there was a grassroots football show that used to go on in Birmingham at the NEC. And I used to go there for a couple of years. Unfortunately, it stopped, but it was a really, really good show. So you'd have coaches putting on little sessions. You'd have different like football companies. There was like to Challenger Sports were there. I think even Joma had a stall there as well. And yeah, it was really, really good. And I'm gutted that they actually stopped it. But yeah, I think somebody caught me from UCFB. Asked how old I was. I think I was about 15 at the time, 15, 16. And just caught me. And yeah, I signed up for something. I still to this day don't know what I signed up for, but I pretty much signed up for something. And I kind of finished school a little bit. I was at college, and just sort of wondering what my next steps would be, what route what path I would go down. And I'm going to say this in the nicest possible way. UCFB battered me with emails, and I mean battered my email inbox. Just with come for an open day. And I think I just got annoyed, and my mum said, like, what's the matter? And I said, this UCFB keep emailing me, mum. Like, and she was like, well, just go and have a look. It might not be for you, but just go and have a look. So yeah, I think they were in the process of opening up their Wembley campus at the time. So I'd gone and had a look at Wembley, and obviously having a look at Wembley Stadium, there's far worse places in the world to kind of have a look around and stuff like that. So yeah, I ended up having a look around at Wembley. I was actually down to do football business and media at Wembley. So I thought, right, because I was that kid that used to commentate when they played FIFA.
Yeah.
And I know there's more of us out there. I know
I'm
there's
someone
more
as well,
people
yeah.
out there. So I was that kid that, like I say, used to commentate when I played FIFA. Someone's definitely going to spam the comments and say how sad that is, by the way. So I was down to football, business, and media, and then I was on an open day, and then they suggested or they put up sports, business, and coaching, and I went with my mum. I think the first time I went with my dad, and he was just there like, yeah, you're gonna have to go with your mother. So I ended up going with my mum to Wembley. They mentioned sports, business, and coaching. We kind of looked at each other because I was actually coaching at that point with Martin White Football Factory. So yeah, I did say like, look, we kind of looked at each other, and it was that look of we're gonna have to go up north to Burnley, where it was at the time, Turf Moor. And yeah, I think looking back, it was probably one of the best decisions I made because I moved away from home. I was away from all my comforts, and I think it's definitely made me a part of the person that I am today. So yeah, I studied sports business and coaching there. We did 2 years at Burnley. So you're walking into Turf Moor every day. I think at the time Burnley just got promoted as well, so it was like the novelty of walking into a Premier League football stadium every day.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. After about 3 weeks, the novelty does wear off because you're there like, well, it's uni. I don't see it as turf. I see it as uni. So yeah, and then we got pulled over to the Etihad, and everybody was speculating at this point. We were like, okay, what is actually happening? What's going on here? And we got told that the university was moving from Burnley to Manchester and to the Etihad. So yeah, I ended up doing my final year at undergraduate there at the Etihad. The bright lights of Manchester, which were sometimes a little bit hard to say no to, as I'm sure most young people will find out. So yeah, I had that. And then obviously I came back. Had started up doing the coaching again, started doing my one-on-ones, that kind of stuff. And yeah, got a phone call from a football media company called Football for Football. I interned with those guys whilst I was at uni. Absolutely loved it. Like, it was pretty much like, I don't know if it was because it was new and it was cool. Like, yeah, I was the one traveling into Manchester to do like an internship for a day. And stuff like that. So I did feel like the cool sort of teenager bowling into, to the student union, being like, yeah, I've just had like a day's work today, type of thing, and stuff like that. So yeah, I got a call to see if I wanted the job full time. I couldn't really turn it down, and unfortunately for me, it didn't work out. But I'm still in good contact with the person now, and yeah, met up with him several times, even since I stopped working for that company. And yeah, so because that didn't work out, I was there like, okay, what am I going to do? I still had a bit of time on a flat that I was renting, so I was like, right, okay, what am I going to do now? And then I think I went over to UCFB and picked up a leaflet, and it had a picture of me in the promo material. So I'm there like, okay, for a master's degree. So I'm there going, right, well, if I'm in the promo material, I've got to kind of go for it. So they were offering out master's degrees in football coaching and analysis, and I thought, do you know what? Whilst I'm at a bit of a crossroads, let's go back to uni. Let's do a bit of more studying, and see where it would take me, and see where it would go. But yeah, I didn't actually want to go to university. I think I was playing for Olney Town at the time. Anybody that knows Olney, it's a very, very nice area, quite a wealthy area, and it was almost that expectation, I think, from my teammates that they were going to go to university, whether they wanted to or not. So it was a bit like, well, no, I'm not going to go because I just want to be. I don't want to go to uni, come back with loads of debt and all of this kind of stuff. And yeah, I've ended up with a master's degree, so I don't know how that's worked out. But yeah, it was just that thing of like just going against the norm, I think, for me, and just going, no, I'm not going to go. And then, like I say, I've ended up with a master's degree off the back of it. But I'm pretty sure now that's my studying, if you like, done for the moment.
You're done for now. Yeah,
Yeah.
Masters. I mean, that's class to have, isn't it? So,
Mm.
no matter what, I mean, if that's as far as it goes, you got a Masters, which is unreal anyway. You've got other awards there, haven't you? Just looking at your MK's Most Inspiring Fitness PT and Coach Award that you received last year.
Yeah.
What was that about? How did you get nominated for that?
Oh, this is quite a funny story, actually. So, I want to say about February last year, I had a screenshot from a parent who is also my partner's PT, and she had voted for me. So she just literally just sent this screenshot through, and I'm there like, okay, yeah, nice, but what's this about? Like, what's it for? And she was like, do you not know? I was like, I genuinely have no clue what you're on about right now. So she said, oh, you've been nominated for an award. And I was like, have I? And she was like, yeah, it's the MK Inspirational Award. It's quite a good, it's like a really prestigious award, I think, within the area. And yeah, you've been nominated. And I was like, oh, right, okay. I'm trying to watch City Bayern in the Champions League at this point. Well, that was me gone. I was like, have you got a link that I could like use or like send out to other people? Because obviously if I've got nominated, I want to like tell everybody, she sent me this link, but that was me for the next 2 hours blasting this link out like here, there and everywhere. And yeah, so that was that. And I genuinely obviously didn't know that I got nominated in the first place, but I had no idea that I was even, going to win. So yeah, I had the awards night at Stadium MK. Black tie event, and
Nice.
yeah, it was a massive shock because I looked at the people in my category, and it was a tough category. Like there's some people there, like you had the women's manager for the MK Dons women's team, like you had a goalkeeper coach who's done a lot for the community within Milton Keynes, been doing it a long time. There was other people there, and I'm just there like, okay, yeah, this is, if I win this, wow. Because like I say, it was a tough category, and who I was up against, in my eyes, held more prestige than me. But then, yeah, when my name got called out, it was shocked. But what a night that was. We had a good night. Put it that way.
I bet it did, yeah.
And again, it was just that recognition for me in that 10 plus years or roughly 10 years of hard work and graft and dedication to my craft had finally kind of been recognized for me. And now what I'm hoping to get now is the business side of things. That's got to get recognized, or the fact that I think we've even been nominated for Inspiring Team this year is in Kickoff Football Academy. So yeah, fingers crossed that we can hopefully win that and almost go back to back with that. So yeah, I mean, again, really, really humbled, and thank you to everybody that voted for me last year and that has voted for me so far this year. And yeah, fingers crossed we can have another good awards night.
Yeah, good. Where can people vote for you there?
It's on the MK Inspirational Awards website, and then you would need to either select Best Business or Most Inspiring Local Team, I think it is. So yeah, that's where people can find that.
Oh. Yeah, we'll drop that in the comments of this video as well.
Perfect.
Go and check it. Go and vote now. Yeah, talking about you a bit more then. Obviously, you said you played there for Olney. Did you have much of a playing career before that?
I'd like to say I was all right. Obviously, played for a team when I started. I mean, I was that kid that as soon as I could walk, I had a football. And like most boys, dream was to go pro. And everything else. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. So then I went into coaching, like most. But yeah, no, I think playing wise, started off at a team, Oldbrook and Monkston, although there was a little bit of animosity towards the person that owned it. So we never really played any games.
Right.
But again, I think it was good for me to have that like introduction into football. because I think without that, then I wouldn't have probably gone on the journey that I would have. I then left there and went to MK Wanderers, and then my dad ended up getting roped into being one of the assistant coaches for that, which I don't think he wanted to sign up for, or it got put to him that it was only a couple of hours a week. Obviously, it's not. It's almost a full-time job in itself. So yes, played the MK Wanderers. And then Wimbledon moved up from South London into Milton Keynes, and I was fortunate enough to be training and playing for Wimbledon at the time. And then that changeover from Wimbledon to MK Dons, again, I was quite fortunate to be in the academy there. I know you had an episode with Leon Lobjoy, so he was we were in the same team at one point, talking sort of like under 9s, under 10s, but me and Leon were in the same team. We also had Lewis Baker, who is at Stoke, so he was in our team. Another player as well, Claudio Diaz, I think one of the best players I think that I've played with, definitely. I know he still plays, I think. Last time I heard he was at Tamworth.
Nice.
So still playing at a good level. Unfortunately came out of the academy system, went back into grassroots, never really got back into the academy system. It was more, I think I was the one that people went, well, he can't head, he can't tackle, he's too small, he's too slight, can't do this, can't do that. And it just kind of got to me in the end. But I carried on playing. I went back to Wanderers, left them, went to Newport Pagnell Town, spent a couple of years there, scored in the cup final against Mortonville at Stadium MK. Didn't know I scored because ball's been like cleared, and I've just smashed it. And it's one of those where you hit it and you go, that's in Roseheads, right? But might as well turn around and set up again for a goal kick from the goal kick. But then I've looked round and I've got my teammates coming towards me. I've seen keeper on the floor, ball at the back of the net, and I'm thinking, I must have scored here. But unfortunately, we lost that one in extra time, and then ended up being a bit of a journeyman in my youth days. So played for City Colts, Healands Rangers, MK City, and I don't think I actually completed a full season at any of them because my biggest gripe was that I wasn't playing. And you'd speak to coaches and be like, look, why am I not playing? Why am I not getting minutes? And they would just kind of fob me off a little bit, which was annoying and frustrating. And then I came across Olney, and I think I actually went to Olney earlier on, but didn't think it was the right move at that time. But then went back to Olney, and it was the best, again, one of the best decisions I think I ever made. It made me, playing at Olney made me fall back in love with playing football again. Because I'd been shafted so many times by different coaches, and it was just that, right, Wes, you know what quality you have, bring it to us and go and express yourself and go and play. And that was kind of all I needed, really. I wasn't obviously interested in, getting back and defending and doing the dirty side of the game, which is quite interesting now, because if you were to ask me what topic I prefer coaching, it's defending, as opposed to attacking topics. And I was an attacking player. I was just came across playing for Olney, and played in the Milton Keynes MKDDL. Then they had an 18s team that played in the Floodlit League. I think it's the Northants Senior Youth League. I don't know.
It's a good league.
It's still going. Yeah,
I used to love it. Really good quality there now. I used to love that because I think it was just that novelty of playing under the lights. As a football fan, like, you're seeing your team play under the lights, and that's special. But playing under the lights is a really, really special thing. So and in that time, I ended up playing against AFC Rushden and Diamonds, which was the first cohort of AFC Rushden and Diamonds back in 2011. When they started up, obviously the story of what happened there with Rushden and Diamonds itself. So they obviously started the Phoenix Club, and was really, really fortunate to play against them in front of quite a big crowd.
and had a good game as well. And I think the manager shouted me out after the game as well, which was quite nice. I think I was at college at the time, and my tutor had pulled it up and
Right,
showed it in front of everybody. And again, I think the college days for me were really tricky because, again, I think I struggled to make that transition from junior football into that college football and into kind of men's football. I think I struggled with that transition when I was at college, but I learned so much in terms of, and I think that shaped me in terms of some of my values now that I take into coaching. Come through. Only played North Bucks as well on a Saturday. That was interesting. So playing that at sort of 16, 17, you're playing against men in particular, but those that have been out on a Friday, and it's the ball or you that are getting past, not both. But again, really enjoyed my time there. And then got opportunity to play in the Olney Towns reserves, and even had a little cameo in the first team away at Oadby as well. Had a little cameo there. But yeah, I think mainly played in the reserves, and yeah, loved it. Like I say, gave me that love and joy to play football again. And yeah, like I say, it was. And I think a coach that, again, I think I owe a lot of credit to is Ryan Hill, who works at Northampton Town. Stumbled across him at Olney, and yeah, again, he just said to me, Wes, you go out and play, you do what you need to do, we'll get the ball to you, you know what you're doing, because I think he knew that I was, again, doing a little bit of coaching as well on the side, and he just said, yeah, look, you do what you got to do, we'll get the ball to you, and once you get the ball, you just do your stuff. And I just needed that freedom to just go and play.
Yeah, nice.
And he gave that to me, and I felt like I'd seen pretty much enough of the game by 18, but then Ryan came in and just opened my eyes to new ways of training, and training sessions became fun again, and I felt like I was learning. And I think we had a really good team. It was unfortunate that we couldn't stay for a little bit longer. I think Ryan himself had to leave due to other commitments, and I think majority of the lads stayed, but then I think it's sort of the turn of the year, especially at that level, you see a big turnover of player, and I think that definitely happened. And I then ended up not playing and was getting really frustrated because I think I went for a spell of about 2 months, maybe 2.5 months, where I was just coming off the bench being an impact player. But then all the lads in the bars and stuff after the game would say, like, yeah, well done, Wes, you did really well today. And even the manager would say, like, oh, I thought you did well when you came on. So you're going, okay, well, surely that's got to stand me in good stead then to start the following game. And it never really came. And I think we ended up playing against Irchester, and we took an absolute tanking that night. It was a bad one. So I think we lost 7-1. And yeah, I think, again, Mr. Beeman, sort of Mr. UCL himself, shouted me out on a match report and made an approach for me to go over to Irchester. And yeah, it was, again, I had a fresh start. I think it was just before I kind of went back to uni, I think, or I was just going to uni at that time because I took a year out before going. So yeah, in that year out, towards that sort of end of season, I ended up going to Irchester, and yeah, a little bit different for me. Ended up playing wing back a lot of the times, and I hated it. Right. I'll be honest. I don't know what.
Who was the manager at the time?
Beeman.
Dan was Beeman. The manager. Sorry,
yeah. So yeah, Christ knows what he saw to put me at wing back, because yeah, running up and down was never my thing. But give me the ball and I'll try and do something. Yeah. So yeah, I spent a little bit of time there. We had a good group. People like Chris Gell, who was there, and Jeff Busby. Some real sort of old experienced heads, and then there was some young lads that came through as well. Lukman Abdullah was one who was sort of in and around my age, and like I say, yeah, we had Chris Love as well. So yeah, a really good set of lads, and I think I played my last game before I went to uni against Olney, actually, so it was quite sentimental. And yeah, that was a good game. And then went off to uni, and then I think I did a summer out in America in my first year at uni. Came back second year, signed on again. It wasn't really in my best interest really to kind of continue playing, but I think it was Jelly, to be fair, and Lenny, that kind of convinced me to sign on. So I signed on for a little bit, but didn't really play many games. And I think I sort of came back and stuff like that after being at uni, and signed on for Urch, and it didn't work out. I think there was a few other things that I had a few other things going on and over the spell of a couple of weeks, and then never really got back into it. Obviously, I couldn't train much because I was coaching, and I made that clear to Gel, and just said, like, look, I'm coaching, and I'm going to have to coach on the days that we're training because that's how I've got to make my living. He understood that, which was nice. But yeah, I never really got back into the team. And I think the frustrating thing for me was we went away to Bourne. Now, if anybody knows about Bourne away, they know it's an absolute mission, especially from like Milton Keynes as well. It's obviously a little bit further, but I know obviously from the like Northamptonshire point of view, it's still a bit of a way. And we went to Bourne, and I'm looking round, and and I had to convince Gel, I'm like 5'6", slight as anything, and I've had to say to Gel, by the way, my legs are on the way out, but you're gonna have to play me in the middle if you want to try and get the most out of them. I think we played Bourne away. I'm looking round, and I'm there like, I might be in with half a shout here to start the game, and I started on the bench, and I think that was the point for me where I was like, do you know what, probably writing's on the wall that I'm not gonna get much game time. And subsequently, I think it was after that, really, I had a couple of other things going on, like weddings and stuff like that I had to go and attend, and stuff like that. So I think after that I didn't really play much after that. And do I miss playing? That was a question that got asked of me a lot, especially as I pretty much transitioned out of playing. Like, do you miss playing? And I was there like, do you know what? I probably don't, because I'm just so focused on coaching and building that up. So, I think there was a couple of players that I've been and watched, and I was like, I don't miss it anymore.
No,
I have flirted with the idea of making a comeback, but I think it would take a lot for me to do that, because I haven't kicked a ball now in a little while. It'll be 6-7 years I think since I last kicked a ball properly. And then alongside that, obviously my body tells me when it's time to stop. So I've got quite bad calf muscles, so they tighten up to a point where they'll cramp. But It's not a cramp that you just go, yeah, you're done, right, off you go. Like when they cramp, that's it, that's time, it's game over. And I think my body's just given up on me. I've had problems with knees recently, when I've been teaching, done my knees a couple of times, done my hamstring on a coaching course as well, so that pinged, that was nice. I was trying to relive my youth on a particular session, and my hamstring just told me that he didn't like it. My body's telling me it's time to stop, I think. Right. So just stick to coaching, and I think I'll be all right.
Right. Yeah, I know how you feel. This weather's not agreeing with my knees, to be honest. So I'm with you on that. Just backtracking slightly, you said you went to America there for a summer. I had a little scroll through your Instagram, and I see you in a British soccer kit. Did you play much over there?
I didn't play, no. That was through Challenger Sports. So they came and done a recruitment day at uni. And then they came back for us basically to do our interviews. But the worst thing was, it was our refreshers time at uni, and I was obviously a first year, so it's that back into back at uni after Christmas, we're going out. I think that was the good thing about my university as well. It was small at the time. It's grown massively now, but it was really small at the time. So I would know things about third year students. I would know like their name, where they're from, what football team they support, what course they were on, what they were looking to do like going forward. But I would know that about the majority of the third years and the second years as well. And I think we were on a night out in Manchester the night before, And I think we actually bumped into Chris Powell, believe it or not,
Right.
in nightclub in Manchester. So there was a few of us from the uni team, and we got him in, and got him in our team photo, which was quite funny. He absolutely loved it. And then I think the next day I was running off, not a lot of sleep because I didn't drink too much the night before. So I wasn't on much sleep. But passed the interview I think with flying colours. And then I think it was around the Easter time. We went for like a training weekend at Warwick University, and that was interesting. So obviously those coaches were putting on sessions for us to pick up little things along the way, and you knew and you could see those coaches that hadn't really planned much, because they literally like took what the coach that are already going out there. What they were doing, and stuff like that. So I think my session was completely different, and it was almost that like 50 different ways to dribble. And I think in the end, because we had to join in the sessions, like us we got bored of hearing the same old. And I think the sort of regional directors and the returner coaches that were there also got tired and fed up of hearing the same thing. So in my mind, I was always going to do a passing session, so I did it, and it was as if like I'd invented something brand spanking new. They absolutely loved it. And not to blow smoke or blow my own trumpet, but I think I was the first person to get a handshake from the regional directors on that training weekend.
Nice.
So I did a summer out in Denver, in the Denver region. So that's like Colorado, Utah, Salt Lake, sort of out there. And absolutely loved it. I'd put it up there as one of the best summers of my life, really, because you're traveling the world, doing a job that you love, and stuff like that, and you're seeing a different part of the world, new country. You got to stay with a host family that would seriously look after you. Like nothing was ever too much trouble. And it was the year that Spurs were out playing the MLS All Stars. And I got told about it literally as I landed, pretty much. So I've gone in, met one of the people that was going to take me somewhere, and it was like, oh, did you know that Spurs are playing the MLS All Stars? And I was there like, no, but I do now, and I need to get a ticket. So one of the host families, I think I was banging on about this game for ages, and my mum was sending me like links to try and get tickets that weren't happening, and I'm there like, oh, you're joking. Like, my team are on my doorstep because they were played in Colorado at the Colorado Rapids Stadium, Dick's Sporting Goods Park, I think it's called. But they were literally on my doorstep, and it was like, I'm not going to be able to see them. Like, are you winding me up? Type of thing. So I was staying with a host family. I've gone out to do a camp. I think we're back late one night because of thunder and lightning. So standard procedure for that is you've got to wait 15 minutes for it to sort of pass over. I've come back home, and I've explained, like, look, I said, look, really sorry I'm late. I had to, extend the camp a little bit because we did a camp in the evening. So it was like, look, I had to, we had to stay because of thunder and lightning. He was like, yeah, no, that's fine. And the dad has got his laptop on this like footstool. And I was going, look, I'm just going to, grab a shower and kind of get settled for the night. And he was like, before you go, I need to talk to you. So I'm thinking, right, okay, what have I done here? Like, what, have I maybe said something to one of his kids that he didn't particularly like, or whatever? And he spun his laptop around on this footstool, and it was a website to get me tickets for the game. And I was there like, wow. Because I think he was in the military. I think he still is, actually, but he's in the military. So it was this particular website where he was able to get tickets, and I'm there like, wow. So obviously then I got to go and see my team play, in a different country, which was a new experience for me as well. And like I say, it was brilliant. Staying with families that really, really looked after us, and me in particular. Kind of met my American twin, as I call him. because we just hit it off. It was literally like, it was the same. It was questions of like, are you a Messi or Ronaldo fan? I'd say like, oh, I'm more Messi for me. And he's like, yeah, me too. And it was like, it was just freaky the amount that we had in common. And, you know, I have stayed in touch with the family over the years, and, you know, he's come over to England a couple times. So, yeah, showed him a few of the sites of sort of like Milton Keynes, and, you know, took him to a Premier League game as well. We did like tours of, I think we did a tour of Old Trafford. We had a little bit of a look around Wembley Stadium and stuff like that as well. Like, obviously took him to London, like Oxford Street, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, no, that was good. And then I think there was another summer that he came over, and he ended up kind of working with me when I was working with Martin White Football Factory. So he kind of had like an extra body on the camp, and he absolutely loved it as well. So yeah, no, it was a really, really good summer, and I think for me personally, turned me from a boy to a man, because I think if there was any problems, it was like, right, I've got to sort this out myself now. Whereas I think before it was like, mum, dad, like how do I go about, you know, sorting this out a little bit. So yeah, it kind of turned me from a boy to a man, I think. And yeah, me personally, I'd recommend it to any young person that is wanting to especially coaches. I'd definitely recommend like a summer out in America, 100%.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, sounds like you say, class time over there. My uncle's done it, to be fair. He's moved over to Austria.
And, nice.
All he does is 3 hours a day, coaches in American school.
Yeah.
Coaches kids, and then he's got the rest of the day to himself. He's got a class life over there, to be fair. You touched on Spurs there. You mentioned it before. You got your host on a podcast.
Yes.
Is it a solely Tottenham podcast, is it?
The podcast was solely Tottenham, and then we did a episode around Christmas, sort of speaking about our like January wish list, or our wish list for Santa, basically. And I went into quite a bit of detail on it. So I think it was due to the fact that, you know, when I was doing my master's degree, I interned at Coventry City in their recruitment department. Again, absolutely loved it. So yeah, I was a bit geeky and kind of going like, right, here's who Spurs could potentially sign. Here's their like market value, and giving a little bit of an insight into the player. And almost me giving my rationale as to why I think Spurs should sign them. And then I got a message from the host, shout out Holly Agenbar. So she does Holly's Hotspurs on a Monday night. And then she said, look, I want to make the Wednesday like your thing, because you've got the knowledge there, and I want you to kind of express it a little bit. So we had a bit of a chat over Christmas. And yeah, just started to delve a little bit more into the tactical side of the game, and really like breaking things down. So I know we did the first two episodes I think the first one was more like breaking down how Spurs set up and the reasons behind that, and why that's the case. I think the one we did recently was on the relationship between Man City's wingers and fullbacks, especially in the game that they played against Newcastle. So trying to not just stick to Spurs, but make it a bit more generalised, but still trying to have that element of Tottenham in there, because obviously it is like it's mainly a Tottenham fan base that will tune in. So yeah, I think, like I say, the recent one, we looked at the relationship between City's wingers and fullbacks from their recent game against Newcastle, and then it was a case of, well, actually Spurs' next game is Man City in the Cup. You know, how are Spurs going to look to combat that, or is it a case of, you know, Pep maybe having something up his sleeve? So no, it's been good to obviously have that particular show, obviously talking about Tottenham, and then obviously now recently just breaking things down in a bit more detail for different people.
Nice. Obviously a big Spurs fan, and you were at Old Trafford Sunday, weren't you?
I was, yeah. Have a season ticket with my dad, so go as often as I can. I think there's a few games that I've had to miss out on this year, because the lovely TV companies have moved our games to like Friday nights or Monday nights, and I can't always go, or if it's on a Wednesday because we have another session that we do on a Wednesday, so chances are I can't make it. So there's a few that I have missed in my time being a season ticket holder, or whether it's been moved to a Sunday, but then I've been booked up with one-on-ones and I've got a full day, so it's a lot then to reschedule. But yeah, try and go as often as I can. And yeah, Old Trafford on Sunday was brilliant. I think it was up there with the best atmosphere in the away end that I've experienced in a while. I was at the Etihad, and yeah, it was nice to obviously nick an equaliser, and it felt like a win with that last minute sort of equaliser. But I think it was just everybody was just so cold at the Etihad. It didn't quite make for a good atmosphere, because I think people just like, it's too cold, get me home, get this done, and stuff like that. I was also at Burnley earlier on in the season, and Burnley actually had sunshine for a change. Living up there for a couple of years, I know it wasn't always forthcoming, and again, I love Burnley as a place. Obviously, it's close to my heart, with the university link and stuff like that. So yeah, me and my dad try and make a thing of going to Burnley away as much as we can, and stuff like that. So yeah, we went to Burnley away, and again, cracking result for us. Decent atmosphere, but I'd probably say Old Trafford was the best one that we've had in a long time, because I think the vibe was good. We were singing pretty much for the majority of the game, and I think we've come away with a cracking result and a cracking performance to go with it.
Yeah, I think obviously when Hoyland scored, as people know, I'm a United fan. Hoyland scored in the first, 2 minutes? I thought, it's going to be a cracking game. But to be fair, Tottenham Man United always is a good game, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. Obviously, I was at the reverse fixture earlier on in the season, and I think it wasn't so much of, in that reverse fixture of Tottenham outplaying Man United. It was more of the fact that we outran Man United, and I think that's what then led to us getting the victory. But I think obviously the way Ange has got Tottenham playing in such a short space of time is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, it's enjoyable now going to the games, whereas I think previously it was starting to become a bit of a chore, and it was like, okay, we know we're going to surrender the ball, and it's get it to Kane, see what he can do, and then we'll go from there. Whereas now it's like we're playing front foot attacking football, and it's almost like brand of football that like my dad would say, this is what I grew up watching, and your dad would always say, like, yeah, Tottenham as a team, always on the attack, always front foot football. We might not always win everything, but we'll go and attack, and we'll always have a go. And I think that has definitely come back to us as a football team and a football club, and yeah, it's just so refreshing now.
Do you think he's right in saying his sort of management style, that he's got this style of play, and if a game's going the wrong way and it's not going for you, he doesn't seem to change it. He sticks to his guns and sticks to his style of play.
Yeah, I think don't get me wrong. I was at the Brighton game as well. That was a stinker. And I think the Wolves away game, I didn't go to the game, but I watched it, and that was a bad one. But I think the Wolves one was more, okay, we've gone 1-0 up, we're reverting back to Spurs of the last 4 or 5 years of like, get a goal up, sit on it. The Brighton one was, I think, bad day at the office. The Chelsea one was interesting for me because I've never known anybody to try and defend with 9 men on the halfway line. It still baffles my brain now as to why he's done that. But I think with Ange, it's not so much having plan B or plan C or whatever. It's we've got plan A and make plan A better. So it's a little bit similar to Bielsa in that respect of, okay, if plan A doesn't work well, then we've just got to make it better so it does work. And it is very, some would say, stubborn in sticking to principles and everything else. But I think as a player, that you're going into any game and going, right, well, no matter what the score is or who we're playing, like the opponent, we're going to play a certain way. And yeah, I think it does give clarity to players. The lack of adaptability is something I think that's always going to be questioned. But I think the message is clear, like, this is who we are and this is what we're going to do. And yeah, bring on anybody. and we're still going to create chances. We're still going to, have a go at a team, and whether we are, 3-4-0 down. Like I say, the Brighton game, I know it finished 4-2, but that could have easily finished 6-all. And Spurs could have actually nicked a point. We had a few good chances towards the end of the game in particular. So it's like, well, we've just been battered by Brighton for, 75 minutes, 80 minutes. And then all of a sudden we want to start turning up and, trying to get back into the game, and, could have easily done it. So it's exciting. But yeah, there's going to be bumps in the road. I think every club's going to have them, no matter what style of football you play. But it's been an interesting watch to see that transition, and almost see I wouldn't say a new coach, because Andrew's been about a while, but a new coach coming into the Premier League in particular, and just going at it of like, right, this is me, this is who I am, and if you don't like it, tough.
Does it make it even more sweeter that you got some stick about where he's come from? Obviously Celtic, and he's been over in Japan, and some people are sort of writing him off before he even started.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I wrote him off, but I think I again appeared on a few podcasts sort of over the summer, and it was more of a case of the view I took was, if he turned up, it's the job of his life, because it's very unlikely he's going to get a job with this prestige again. And it was that underwhelmed, but from a fan point, it was a little bit underwhelming to begin with, because we'd been linked with Nagelsmann, we'd been linked with Pochettino coming back, and and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, he's come in and he's just been an absolute breath of fresh air, and like I say, he's just been brilliant. He's got everybody on side straight away, and it's he wants to be at Tottenham, and he wants to succeed at Tottenham. I think the last couple of managers that we had, it was almost like they were doing us a favour by being here, and it's like, you need me more than I need you. Whereas Ange's just gone, no, look, I want to bring success to the football club in whatever way that looks like, and I want to do it I want to do it my way, and I want to make sure that the fans can come and enjoy seeing their team. And yeah, my word, are we enjoying it at the minute?
Oh, good. I was watching one of your videos there. I think it was last night's recording, talking about Man City, and I got something from the end of it that you said about your Dembele fan account. Is that a thing?
Yeah, the unofficial Mousa Dembele fan account. So anybody that knows me, that knows my love for Mousa Dembele, he is my GOAT. He's like the greatest of all time, probably the best that I've seen wearing a Spurs shirt. And obviously I've seen, Gareth Bale, Rafael van der Vaart, Aaron Lennon was my idol, Luka Modric, players like that. But Mousa Dembele was just unbelievable as a footballer. Like, I've never known anybody to be so strong on the ball, but could dance past you at a moment, in a flash. And yeah, like, I've seen him glide past prime Yaya Toure when Yaya Toure was ripping up the Premier League. I've seen him handle Xhaka, Ozil and Wilshere in a North London derby at Wembley, like, all on his own. And yeah, like I say, for me, the probably the most gifted player that I've seen wearing a Spurs shirt on a consistent basis. So yeah, I think, for me, Moose is my go. And yeah, if I could rewind the clock and get my playing boots on and be anybody, it would have been Mousa Dembele. Like I say, Lennon was my idol growing up because I played on the wing. And it was an easy sort of comparison, small mixed race lad on the wing, that kind of thing. Although, loads of people tried to call me Theo Walcott as well, which was really annoying. So yeah,
being a Spurs fan.
Yeah, but no, Moose, I'm just an unbelievably technically gifted footballer. And I think it was the anniversary of him leaving us yesterday, in 2019. And I think, every player that's played with him says he's the best player they've ever played with. And, like people like De Bruyne would say, yeah, I'd have him in my five-a-side team, like all day, and stuff like that. So, and I think even Kieran Trippier turned around and said, if we didn't sell Mousa Dembele, we'd have won the Champions League final. Like, that's how good he was. So yeah, Moose for me was just unplayable.
Fair play. Before we go, we'll we'll touch on your academy there, kick off football academy one more time. Just let us know where we can get in touch and where we can find you and how we can get involved.
Yeah, so Kickoff Football Academy or at Kofa MK across all the different social media platforms. So that's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube as well. Like I say, we run lots of different sessions, catering for different ages and abilities as well. Boys and girls are welcome as well. We don't tend to just pigeonhole ourselves into only working with one type of demographic. You know, I think we see everybody as a footballer, and if you're coming with us, you are a footballer and you want to develop, and we just want to help you along the way and along your footballing journey. So yeah, if we can do that in any way, then yeah, please get in touch, and we would love to help you.
No, good man. Like you say, we'll drop all the information in our comments as well. Appreciate your time, mate. Hopefully we'll get a few people up to your sessions.
Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah, thank you for having me as well. It was nice.
No, good man. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you again soon.
Yes, take care. See you soon.
Stop, man. Thanks a lot.